podcast number 4, I believe, if I'm putting it out in order of the ones I've recorded. And my guest today is William Moore. He is a music promoter from the Prince Albert pub in Brighton, which is a long-standing venue for touring bands, right? Bands coming through, as well as local acts.
Yeah, it's also circuit.
Also an amazing pub I worked in myself for many years, and we were in a band together, which is how we know each other. It was also not twinned with, but it was linked to the Concorde 2, I believe, because the owner who started running the Concorde 2 also ran the Albert until he got divorced and had to give one of them up. So, yes. So Will's been visiting me at the moment in Finland, and I wanted to grab him because I think there's a lot of things he could offer. He's quite a funny fella. He's a good friend. He was the best man at my wedding. So he's been here before. We've just been out walking today in the woods, done 10K, and we've had a few beers over the weekend. So we're a bit jaded. And now's a good time to just get some information out of him before he flies back to England tomorrow. So, William.
Yes.
This podcast has been, I don't know, I'll probably lose the kind of catchphrase about it soon. It's called Hack Mojo, and the idea is that I'm trying to find out how people with a certain amount of charisma or, success in their field that aren't necessarily household names, not really mega famous, but people who have done well, who've consistently worked in an area and sort of succeeded at it in a sense. And I think it was really good that you're here. I thought it was really interesting because not a lot of people get behind the scenes of what you do. Right, entrepreneurs and business people will always look at the business leaders and they forget that there's a lot of ground roots people who are working and who have succeeded in their field. Like I said, like booking bands, who really knows much about that? But it's as valuable a business as any. And I think part of the success of the Prince Albert, which is a very, very it's profitable business pub in a busy place with many pubs, and it's still standing, is a testament to the work that's gone into it. And I would have thought you were a big part of that.
Well, I hope so.
You've been on the music scene in Brighton for... Why don't you tell us about how you started?
A long time. I mean, I think it's an interesting point. I think success boils down to a lot of things. I think a lot of people want to get rich quickly, or they don't look at the bigger picture. They do things very quickly, and they're quite cheap and nasty. And in the long run, that doesn't really get you anywhere. I mean, I'm cheap and nasty, but not as cheap and nasty as them. But no, it's actually if you treat bands, in a shoddy way, you're not going to get much back. But if you look after them and you keep looking after them, a lot of them will get bigger and they will come back. I do little secret gigs and they'll mention the venue on stage, or they'll mention a promoter, or they'll give contacts out to bands that they've met or agents that they deal with. Yeah,
well, didn't you have Fatboy Slim play in the pub recently?
Yeah,
quite recently, just in the pub. He rocked up
last year. Well, we had a bit of a problem where we were possibly we were in danger of getting closed down, and we needed to get the message out to the public. And I wrote to him, I contacted him and asked if he would put our petition on his website, because he's got over 3 million people.
Social media.
And I said, could you do us a favour? And then he just said, was anything else you'd like? And I said, like what? And he said, would you like a gig? So I thought about it for a nanosecond and yes, please. And he rocked up with no airs and graces, and it was just wonderful. No demands, no big riders or fancy egos or anything. In fact, the only thing that he asked for, his one request, was a box that he could stand on behind the DJ decks to make him look taller.
Right.
So that helped enormously. So that's nice.
That's amazing. I guess that he's willing to give back as well, right? Because as Brighton is such a community of... Well, you've lived and worked there for so long that you've seen a lot of people come through, right? And I think the Concorde would have been a big part of his growth and his success, and so he's happy to give back to those who helped him up the ladder, which is really lovely to hear. But you've also had the Strokes come through on their first UK tour, and the White Stripes, and Amy Winehouse, and people like that.
Yeah, we had on the Sniffers, we've had Idols, we've had
the
Storms.
Didn't you get the Kooks signed?
I got them signed back in the day. They gave me a cassette, and they got the person that I gave the cassette to, friend of mine, who got very rich from it, I got nothing back, apart from they came back 10 years later and did a thank you gig for me, so that was nice.
There you go.
Yeah, so I did get something back, but not financially.
It takes a while.
Like a bugger.
Yeah. But that's good that the artists themselves are showing, because I think the artists are the people who are...
This is it.
who really feel it and they remember it.
Well, if you have a happy band, you've got a happy audience. A happy audience is a happy bar. A happy bar is a happy owner. That's
people drinking.
It's very basic.
Yeah,
and that's how it's the longevity. If you try, it's like going back to what I said at the beginning. It's when people are greedy and mean. When equipment breaks, they just put some gaffer tape over it. The old original was, just put some tape on it. Yeah. Well, if you tape it up and tape it up and tape it up, eventually it's going to be so broken. If everything's going to be so broken, you can't afford to repair it.
Yeah.
So get it fixed properly in the first place, or buy a new one.
Don't book that band again. They broke it. Yeah. Yeah. But there's something to that, and you even touched on being nice to bands. But it's not just bands, is it? It's staff. Because to have a successful business run, you can't treat people like
Top to
shit,
bottom.
and eventually everyone finds out, and you get a bad name for yourself. And I guess in these days in the UK, you probably could get arrested for hate crimes because you treated someone badly.
Well, people. The thing is, if the bar staff, if you treat them badly, they'll just steal
miserable
off you,
staff, miserable customers.
Exactly,
they won't come back again. Yeah.
So it's that longevity, and it's just like looking further rather than say that's how a lot of venues fail.
But you've worked there how many years now?
25 years now.
At the Albert?
Yeah.
Jeepers.
I know,
wow.
I told you it's the only thing I can do.
Yeah. So you've seen a lot of seasons, right? A lot of people come and go, including myself a few times. Yeah. So that's really handy. It's a really good place to be because a lot of people do. Someone told me that you don't know if your business is working for 3 years because you need to see more than just one set of seasons. But after 25, full turns around the sun, you probably see patterns in people, in staff that you're employing, and bands that you're hiring, and do you get any red flags from that as who you would and wouldn't let through?
What bands or
anyone? Because I guess are they different?
I mean, if a band's particularly rude, if they've got too much of an ego, they don't generally come back. Or you let them know. But in a polite way, let them know this isn't the way to do things.
How does it manifest as arrogance and demands?
Well, they can demand things, or they can. I mean, there's a thin line between arrogance and an ego, and being decent and performing well and making everybody happy.
What's the line then?
Well, it's a very thin line, isn't it?
How can we know? Because from my understanding, working with actors so far, is that you do get a lot of that ego, and usually it's down to nerves and lack of self-confidence.
Yeah.
And so people try to fight through that, and it comes out as arrogance and ego because they feel a bit protective of themselves. They feel a bit delicate, and they don't want anyone to know. They want to look strong, and it comes out as this ego, which is unfortunate because usually it's the most sensitive people that suffer that the most. I probably would argue that at some point I had a bit of an ego myself, and it was down to lack of self-confidence.
But there's nothing wrong with ego. It's how you use it, I guess. Everybody's, because they're a performer. Pretty much everybody on stage has got an ego, but it's just how it's portrayed.
If they didn't have an ego, it'd be a boring set, right?
Well, yeah. So yes, it's got to be. I mean, to me, if you're in a band, you've only got one job, and that's to give the public a fine musical spanking. You've got to take them out.
Fine musical spanking. We should call that the name of the episode. Will Moore, a fine musical spanking.
But that's your job. You've got to take people out of their ordinary lives, even if it's just for half an hour. Make people excited, make people go, wow, I'm part of this.
Yes.
And if they're really good, you want to be more than just part of it. You want to buy their stuff. Come by next time. You become a fan.
And it is those experiences that you can't get online, that you can't get at home on the TV or on your phone. No. You have to be there in person and experience it. And it's good that that's still alive. It's really nice to hear because I'm sort of stuck here in Finland. I don't go out much. I've got kids. So I lose track of what's going on in the live scene, and you're still there.
This is what we were saying. It's your job, even if it's just for half an hour. If you can get to see a gig and you've got kids and everything, you can go out for just half an hour. And that just transforms your life. Just for that evening, you just go, wow.
Yeah.
A band have done something good. Hopefully you're in a nice pub with some decent sound and some decent beer and decent bar stuff.
Yeah.
And you just go, wow, that's great.
Yeah, because if you do spend money and go out and the band is shit, you don't want to go for a while, do you?
Yeah.
Last time I went, it was bad. I want to see another band.
And equally the same as if the sound is bad, a lot of public, they don't blame the sound, they blame the band. And that's really awful. So, like you say, it's everybody's got to be good.
Do you remember that gig we did? See, me and Will had a band called Leonard and Bubba's Delicious Goo Goo Cluster. So for anyone out there who's ever seen us or heard us before, we're still alive. Hi. We might be coming back soon. Not to the UK, though. And do you remember that time we played in Hackney? I think Hackney Wick at a place, and there was no sound man, and they had this reverb. And our friends that had never seen me before came along to see us because I was raving about us. Yeah. And they just thought we were terrible because of the sound.
Singing well.
We sounded like Cher because of all the echo and the slapback and the feedback, and it shouldn't have been there.
Yes. Yes, you're stuck in a well.
So quality of sound. One thing about Finland is actually is that they're really anal about the quality of things. Like, I'm not huge on Finnish rock bands. I don't really know much about it, to be fair, but from what I've experienced, it's been so well produced and everything's so on the button and so like timely that it loses a lot of character for me.
Well, yes.
But here that's considered in high regard. Whereas in the UK, obviously where we're from, and you're from a punk background, if it's too tight, it's not loose enough. It doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel like the emotion comes through.
It's too nice.
Yeah,
you might
quantize.
Might as well listen to the record. Stay at home.
Yeah.
I suppose you could reenact that feeling by chucking beer at yourself. Putting some socks in your ear, throwing beer at yourself, and voila,
Pad out the arms and jackets to stand in your wardrobe, knock about,
stamp on your own foot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
little mosh pit on your own with the sofa cushions. Yes. So 25 years, and then before that, you were working at another place, the Free Butt.
Yeah.
And was that how you got started in
No,
promoting?
Before that, I mean, I was only 2. I did about 5 years in a venue called the Richmond, which was a really good venue. And had lots of really good bands coming through. The Levellers started there. They used to rehearse in there. They needed it. I didn't say that. No, upstairs in the venue in the daytime.
Yeah.
So they came through, and a lot of other bands came through, and I just started on the bar upstairs, and learnt from quite a few crazy promoters. One of them that you know rather well, Mr. Johnny Clark.
Oh, right. He was a promoter.
He was one of the most famous promoters in Brighton.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he put on Nick Cave before anybody. He put the Smiths on. He put, you name it, he put them on. Yeah. He was one of the most prolific promoters in Brighton. Mad as a box of frogs, but very, very good. And I learnt quite a lot from him, which was quite extraordinary.
Took you under his proverbial wing.
Yeah. But there was a lot of good promoters that I chatted to. And
I guess you must have learnt from ones that weren't doing such a good job as well, what not to do next time.
Yeah.
And is it really down to keeping your finger on the pulse of what's happening, or is it the way, like you said, the way you treat the bands is really important, but...
Well,
how if you were to break down your job into elements, right? It's quite easy to see that you would find, contact, book or don't book, sort the dates and organise the dates, and then match them with other bands for the same night or something.
Yeah, although other people will
then stand on the door and take the money.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, other people will approach me. Agencies will approach me, and we have I run the diary. I organise the diary. We have bands 7 nights a week, so I can't do it all. So I coordinate with other promoters and agents all over the country, and they all bring things to me, and I will book them in.
Right.
So,
do they ever give you a package of like these 3 artists are both on all our books? Yeah, makes it easier.
Yeah, they'll come and say, right, I need this date. I've got all these bands. Can I have it?
That sounds great.
Yeah, I can do it every night. If I only put stuff on that I liked, it'll be very dull.
Yes.
So, so it's you organise it, and it's dealing with people that you trust. Say there's a lot of unscrupulous promoters that I don't want to deal with because I find out that they've ripped the band off. They're taking more money than they paid the band. Well, that's not good for the venue. It's not good for our reputation. So they go.
Yeah, and the artist gets fucked. They do the work, and then But so agencies, are you more likely to trust them than just bands contacting you?
Yeah, well, certain agencies and certain promoters, you go, yes, we'll deal with you, no problem, and you know that they're going to bring something good to the table.
It's unfortunate if a band's with an agency and they end up being arseholes or doing something rotten, their agency you're going to find out, right? And then that means they don't get booked again, and
they get dropped. Yeah, it's just like it's just the ones that are good will stay the distance.
It's funny, you have such an enormous amount of people coming through that I don't even know that many bands. Like, and you're booking them all the time.
It was around about £1,000 a year.
That's crazy.
Which is it's a lot of bands.
And that's different acts. That's
Yeah.
1,000 different bands a year.
Yeah.
All from like the UK and abroad now.
All over. Yeah. We've got a lot of bands that come over.
I've seen plenty there, but
Yeah.
we've supported plenty of them there in our band.
We certainly have.
That's a good thing about like having Will as promoter. He gets the support slots for loads of people. We played with the Cuban Brothers.
We did.
Chaz and Dave a few times.
The
Blockheads.
Yeah. Played some very good bands.
A few others. Some gigs we probably shouldn't have been at. Others we were.
Some on the way up. Some on the way
down. Yeah. We've never been anywhere. We're not going up or down. We're just that band that does that thing.
It's just treading water.
Yeah, I guess if we started the band in 2005, was it?
Maybe around there. Yeah.
And we've never split up. We're actually been going for 20 years ourselves.
We did some very good. I mean, we've done Festival.
Yeah.
It was one of the best.
And Dorset a few times, and other festivals.
Boomtown, which is now huge.
Is it?
Yeah. I mean, it's one of the biggest, most popular festivals in England now.
That was cool, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. I liked Festival.
That was my favourite.
I like the travelling over there. And actually, because the festival itself was down the hill, right? But the artists were sleeping in the area at the top of the hill. Yeah. So we didn't get down in the bog. We didn't get rushed. And we had nice clean showers and toilets. And it was quite civilised.
And that's
I enjoyed that.
Your favourite moment with the Scissor Sisters.
Yeah.
Who invaded our stage. How dare they?
That was a really privileged kind of gig for us, actually. We played in a place called the Spiegel Tent. And I think it's a few Spiegel tents, right? And they always come to Brighton. And I don't know too much.
There's about 5, I think, all around the world.
Is it a family Spiegel?
It's a German tent. I think there's one's in Australia.
Right.
There's one near. There's rest in Europe, all over the place. But there's a couple that generally do the festival circuit.
Yeah, but there's often a lot of There's often a lot of cabaret acts going on in them festivals and stuff. Yeah. So it's a really interesting space to be in. And so Scissor Sisters were headlining this particular night. I think the night before was Primal Scream, and Lily Allen was on stage that day as well. We met her, didn't we, that weekend?
We did.
So at the end of like all the artists that have been performing, they didn't have anything to do. So I said, well, we were going to put this redneck band on it in the Spiegel tent. So everyone rocked up there, and all the artists that had been like playing themselves, they had a chance to unwind, and because a lot of people were leaving already, so the artists stayed and got absolutely hammered, and it was a debauched night. It was absolutely fantastic. It was one of the best shows ever, and we had the girls dancing with us as well.
Very enjoyable. Yeah.
What did we call the girls? Did they have a name?
Oh, we didn't we, crikey? Oh.
Well, there's Miss Fontaine and Cherry Shakewell were the dancers, but I can't remember what.
I'll have to remember in a minute.
Cousin sisters, something. Yeah.
The name escapes me for a moment. It's been a while.
It's been a while, yeah. It's all this veggie beer I'm drinking. It's not going to my head, unfortunately. All right, so now I've always had so far. I said always. It's quite a new podcast, but finding ways that people can find a consistent way to strive towards their goals is like one of the key themes of this. I think after COVID, a lot of people have been seeking wellness and mental health channels, and there's a lot of podcasts that have flourished. But again, they're only ever getting like top PhDs and really famous people in their field. So again, having regular people who have their own success, what keeps you like what's kept you consistent for 25 years or and beyond of doing the same thing? I guess you were lucky enough to find your thing.
Well, I mean, I call it moving the goalposts. You know, never get complacent. You have to keep things interesting. You know, if you did the same thing all the time, it would get very dull. And I mean, including myself, but there's a lot of brain thieves. And to me, everybody's a brain thief. Because you've got to steal off. You know, there's only so many chords. There's only so many endings to films or scenarios. Yeah. So everybody steals, but the way that I believe that you do it is if you're going to steal off the best, but make it your own. You know, so there's lots of songs sound like somebody else's, but they've turned around differently enough to not be a complete rip-off. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of people that would copy what I did. And then they do it
as a promoter? Or?
Yeah. So I would book a band, and say, for example, I book a band and it would be sort of £5 to get in. a rival venue or a pub, I'd put my publicity out 6 weeks in advance, and then a week before, the same band will get booked in a week before for free. So no one's going to come to my gig.
Oh, right. So they're kind of undercutting you with the same act.
Yeah. So they've done all my work is just out the window.
And the band accepts it now. I guess that doesn't bode well with you, right?
Yeah. So that does. So
do you have a word with them about that?
Well, no. So what I did was I thought it may be coincidence. So I gave that one. But then I had to start working with the support bands as well. So I'd have this band opening up, then a middle band, then the main band. And I publicised that as well 6 weeks in advance. And then sure enough, I get that same lineup a week before for free. And I went, no, that's not a coincidence.
Right.
I think, I don't know if it wasn't you guys. I got very drunk one night with a friend of mine in the pub. And we invented 90 bands, names.
Right.
And we got a fictitious poster and we wrote them all in and we put it up and went, nick those. Steal those. So, it's about things like just doing things like that. But yeah, it's just about just changing things all the time, not using the same genre. A lot of venues are only comfortable with like one kind of genre. I mix it up. Every night's going to be different. And
every night's different to every night, but you don't mix the genres up within the night.
Well, you can do. Yeah,
right.
There's nothing wrong with that as long as it's not. You wouldn't put the Sex Pistols on with the Pet Shop Boys. Well, you could do. It'd be quite funny, but you know what I mean. It's
supporting Marilyn Manson.
Yeah, I mean you can do if you play it right. There are, because I don't want to personally. I wouldn't want to put 3 punk bands all in a row. Because it's still all the same.
Right, but if it's a punk crowd, right?
Yeah, but
it's punk like rockabilly. They're really into that music, and so but they're supportive of other bands
it's
too.
Like when punk came out, there was a lot of reggae involved with that as well. So they had DJs that would play reggae before the punk bands, and that worked. That was a crossover that worked.
Right.
So I think sort of age as well. You could, especially sort of the older the crowd, you could do a rockabilly band with a punk band with another band, and that would be fine. But if you got, it's like I did a what's the where there's no vocals, instrumental. So 5 instrumental bands. By the second you got up, will someone just bloody sing something?
Yeah. Well, I remember when we were, I think it was Dorset in Dorset, and there was a lot of like ska and reggae going on there.
Yeah.
And you're like, please someone play a downstroke.
You got it.
Check.
So I think especially now, it's keeping the audience as interested as you can. So if you've got the ability to find bands that will cross over well, and most people will, with their attention span being about half an hour, which is great, right. You give them a short, sharp, gigs, and people will stay and watch it. So I think that's one sort of successful way of doing things.
Just keeping it keep changing it up.
Yeah, my determination not to put tribute bands on, because I don't believe I believe that every member in a band or theatre or whatever, they've got to have at least one original idea in their head. Right. With tribute band, you're going to wake up one morning and go, you know what? I'm going to be Fat Bob Smith from The Cure for the rest of my life, and I'm going to sing nothing but The Cure. Well, bullshit to that. They're still going as well.
Yeah.
Don't be a tribute band to a band that's still going.
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't like that. I mean, same as covers.
But I understand tribute bands. It makes sense, and there's a good living in it. You can actually, it's good commercial work, right? And some people can't afford the real thing. True. So you can actually like Robin's wedding. They had a Madness tribute band.
True.
And they were very good, but he wasn't going to pay fucking 50 grand for Madness for the night.
You find they're about 180 grand these days. So yes.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. So that's point. Yeah, you're not going to get in for a fiver. It's true. It just frustrates me a little bit, because it does stop a lot of creativity, because a lot of bands will go, you know what, look at that.
So why is it then? Because obviously you've seen a lot of people come through from different parts in their career and grown. Like we said about Norman Cook, that he's come back and helped you out a bit, and like Coot's come back and did a show for you. And have you? Because I know you've done certain bigger events and venues. But you've stayed pretty much loyal to the smaller venue of I say smaller, it's 120 people. Yeah. But which makes sense, and you've pretty much got free reign to do what you want, which is amazing.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's your venue in a sense.
Yeah.
Chris collects the cash. Well, no, you collect the cash, but you give it to you bung it downstairs to him. But it's been a good partnership. But as far as I can see, from what I know, and you're good friends, you've known each other a long time. Chris was a great person to work for. The Prince Albert is a legendary pub, right? But have you never really thought or been tempted to want to go on to bigger shows and make more money, for example?
Done it, but it's the consistency. I think I like doing every night. If you do big gigs, it's a hell of a lot more, and you've got to deal with the problem. Is that I find it's not the band so much; it's the bigger venues. You have to deal. I did some gigs. I did that Fugazi gig.
Yeah.
And it was working with the council. The council were a nightmare.
The Corn Exchange, wasn't it?
Yeah. But the council, it was a council-run organisation. And then they made it so difficult. It's just so disheartening. By the end of it, you're exhausted. You know? And like, if it wasn't for them, I possibly would have done it. But that's not just them. There's the Comedia. They were the same. They get greedy. They do sneaky things. They try and make so much money. Again, the band get considerably less. And you've got to wait for the money. Yeah, and it's just painful. And you got the more people that you've got to deal with in that. The bands are great. The managers are great. But the more you have to deal with big corporate companies, they're a nightmare. So it's not worth doing.
How useful is a manager these days to a band? Because a lot of people are. It's difficult to get to a place with your band where you actually make any money. That's the biggest step is actually to be able to make 50 quid a gig. That's the biggest step. I think after that, growth can. If you've got fans, if one group likes you, there's nothing to say that these group won't like you. And as long as you keep moving, I think it will grow. But with management. Yeah, what
depends what it's
because you talked about agents and they have like you can book the band through there, but a manager isn't they just to tell the band what they should be doing?
Yeah, to wipe their bum, you know. It's like, it isn't.
So it's still around. It's still a thing.
No, a manager. I mean, a manager a manager will sit there, and he will be on the phone, and he will organise. You know, as a manager will work very closely with an agency. And generally, unless you're really, really big, your manager will probably be your sort of tour manager as well. Yeah. You know, just wear every different hat going. Yeah. But we'll look after you, and it's in his own interest because he's got a good percentage riding on it. Yeah. So he will know the ins to the promoters and the companies. Once you get to a certain level, you need one because. Yeah. They will break you onto the circuit and all the festivals, which you wouldn't do. They've probably got
contacts on as well.
They'll have all
in a
the
sense, you're buying your way into that next level.
Yeah.
But it's funny, isn't it? Because like bands that overnight become a big thing or get picked up by a record label, one, they're getting into debt, and that's what a record label is. But it's also they have to really prove themselves. You've got to have like millions of followers on Instagram,
that's right,
before even anyone shows interest. But at that point, aren't you self-sufficient?
Well, no, I mean they don't get you into as much debt as they used to before. Back in the day, they gave you huge advances, which were just loans.
Yes.
Which bands didn't realise. And then they would spend your money for you.
Yes, with their friends.
Then you would be in debt, yeah. But you don't need to do that anymore because, like you said about hits on websites, you know, it's how many followers you've got, how many that determines quite a lot of things.
Yeah.
And once you get to a stage, you get managers that will earn you money and will propel you into the right areas.
Do you think social following actually translates into fans? Because obviously people can follow you. I mean, I've got like 320,000 subscribers on YouTube, right? For my voice coaching thing. But some videos don't even get 1,000 views.
Yeah.
Some go up. I've got some with millions, but it doesn't always translate.
Yeah, I mean, it used to be record sales, but I think that's... I don't know.
But the record sales is money, right? That's bankable proof. And that's as a business, that makes sense. Yeah. But I think just fans... don't always equal money.
Yeah, I mean the tour's got to make a lot of tours can lose money, which is no good. But they hope that it makes it up on record sales. But the amount of money that gets swallowed up, like one of the worst things now is merchandise, and like basically everything used to be tied up apart from your merch. Now the record company want a slice of that
360 deal,
but
right?
also the venues want a slice of it for selling it, which I think is disgraceful. Right. You know, they want 25% of your sales. Yeah. You know, which is crazy, because the band will only get 25. You know, by the time the pie is cut up, the band get very, very little of it.
And they got to pay them back for the loan they got to get the stuff in the first place.
Printed it, yeah. So you owe and owe. So yeah, the margin is getting smaller and smaller. So you know,
everyone's trying to fist the artist.
But yeah.
So it's really nice to have someone like you around, I guess. Do you know promoters like yourself around the UK?
Yes.
Well, I guess bands talk about promoters the same way promoters talk about bands.
In England, there's a grassroots music venue, a trust.
Right.
So there's about 850 grassroots music venues in the whole of the country.
And it's called Grassroots
Music Venue. We all belong to it. And we have a pact there. None of the venues will charge an artist to sell their merchandise. None of them. I mean, the nice thing, one of the good ways the bands have got round when you get bigger, for example, the Forum in London, the Kentish Town Forum, they will charge, they charge 25%. So it's a lot of money. What bands will do is they'll find a pub like the Bull and Gate next door. They'll ring up the manager and say, look, you know, can we have a back room, you know, for a couple of hours before our gig, you know, to sell our merchandise? Everybody will come in. Everybody will have a drink.
Yeah.
You know, so they then say, pre-order your merch.
Yeah.
So everybody comes in. The barman, you know, the owner of the pub, very happy. All the audience is happy because you can take a $5 off, because you're not paying the 25%. And the bands get a full markup.
Yeah.
So everybody's happy. So that's good, and that's the way bands are making a better deal out of a bad thing. So
is live music still a thing? I know a lot of venues have shut down in the last since COVID, right? And now with AI writing a shitload of music, and it kind of it's using algorithms that know what people want. Apparently, you are at grassroots level, right? So you're seeing if the effect of bands are still moving, bands still coming through, live music still popular as ever.
Yeah, I mean, no one will. I mean, it's only, you know, people that listen to, or on a Saturday night watch naked blindfolded speed ice skating. You know, I love
that.
You know, but people that are glued to that, they're not really people that are really into music. The people that are really into music, which is all your people that will come to your venue.
Yeah.
They'll see through it.
But you're seeing a new generation coming through still?
Yeah.
Young people? It's not just like...
Kind of,
Because like my fear is that... Well, I've got two thoughts. One is that it could go one of two ways, right? That community is obviously being lessened and less, and pubs closing down, and churches closing down, and people not having places to congregate, which I think is important, because you keep it separate, you have more control over them, and that seems to be the way it's going. Now AI and global powers everyone's trying to sort of be the one, and like,
I think
how is that going to affect the future?
Well, you'd always get something. I mean, it has to get nice before it gets better, and like the influx of the bands now, with people like the Lambrini Girls,
right?
And there's a lot of artists like that. It's more sort of punky. It's more, you know, very grassroots coming through and making it.
There's always pushback, right?
I think it sort of goes in a cycle. It's got to get really nice before it gets better.
Nice before it gets better.
Yeah, you really, you know, just
horrible. Boring.
Yeah, boring. It's got to get really, and then there's a kick. It takes about 8 years.
Well, I guess it becomes a contradiction, because like nothing's nice in the world, and like you're just trying to show us this smiley face, and everyone knows it's not true, and people fight against that. That happened with TikTok, didn't it? There's a lot of younger people who are getting fed up with the whole, I don't want to use the word woke, but I guess that's what it's called. Mentality of everyone blaming everyone. So the young generation is starting to have fun again. Yeah, they're taking the piss out of that, because they're the next generation. They don't want to be like their parents. Yeah. They don't want to be woke, because it's the opposite thing. They want to be able to say what they want. And
you'll always get rebelliousness, but it takes a while for it to sometimes come back.
Yeah,
it's got to get so low before it.
So you think live music's safe? I also feel that because people are so stuck online, they'll appreciate live music more. And the more AI starts infiltrating our daily lives, the more people will want to go out and meet other humans and do things and connect and get these like emotional fixes from.
Well, like I say, you can't get that feeling. You can only get that feeling from. You know, live, even a bit theatre.
Well, it's a shared experience. It's with other. It's what people do. That football.
Yeah,
football's still massive.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you know, more than ever, if anything. Yeah, sports. because some being with other people and feeling the same vibrations and being in the same top of starts, yeah. And I had to quit that, didn't I?
Well, after you got disqualified,
when I stopped drinking alcoholic beer, it just fell off me. Yeah, I was thinking about some of the venues in London that closed down.
But there are some springing up. You know, there's a lot of venues closed, but that fortunately, someone as stupid as me will get something going. Find something that's not necessarily like the Free Butt. When we had that wasn't a venue. We just turned it into a venue out of frustration.
Yeah,
and it became really successful. So it was
the neighbours
great.
shut it down out of frustration.
Yeah. Yes, so that's the problem. But there's always somebody that will go, here's an idea. Yeah. And that's great. And while there's always someone like us that will continue to do that, it'll be exciting. And there's always someone that want to strap on a guitar. So it's good.
Well, you're a remarkably positive person. You're a true evidence of glass is half full sort of person. And you always look at the positive sides of things, and you do that with people. You've given me so many opportunities in the past when I've been negative and down. I guess I had my own demons or whatnot when I was younger, and I think it's really nice to have a friend like you who's been around, who always sees the light, always sees the positive. Even in people like ex-girlfriends or people who you don't get on with anymore, you never say the bad thing. Except for music producers, but you're not giving names away. You always tend to look at, it's all right. This will improve. Things are bright. Things are forward. Where did that come from? Where does that positive outlook come from?
Well, the people that I'm not, I don't tolerate sort of rudeness and arrogance. So I just don't bother with them. It's easier. It's like if something's not worth saying, if I've got nothing to say, I just avoid it or avoid them. I just don't book them again.
Right.
Or, if I think there's some sort of promise in people, I will sort of say, oi. How about it might not mean anything, but I think there's something there.
But how do you keep yourself positive?
I don't know.
How do you keep yourself because it's like a belief system, I believe, with you. It's like that's you've made a decision at some point in your life that, I want to be that person, and you've become Will Moore through choice. How much of that has been shaped by your childhood, for example?
Yeah, I guess I was probably lucky. But I've always it's just always a bit causing mischief, making. I
feel you're avoiding the question slightly.
Making good out of something. I don't know. I can't answer it because I don't have.
But what was your? Because I met your brother. He seems pretty positive as well. Optimistic. What was your father like?
Yeah. He was good. He's very, very...
See, you're trying to find the positive in it. But I can see by the way you cite that maybe it's not all positive.
Wonderfully eccentric and really good. You wouldn't mess with it, but very funny.
Right. Was he quite strict?
Yeah, reasonably, but also had a very, very wonderful sense of humour and just differently good to a lot of... Just not beige. Well, just not beige. A lot of people... But just the way that he would deal with things are probably the same as me.
Really?
In a positive way.
I heard a story yesterday about a washing machine that he couldn't figure it out, so he took it outside and put an axe in it.
Well, it broke down. So it was just the way that he finished up with it. It was great. Yeah. So he didn't it wasn't. There was a little bit of malice to the washing machine, obviously with the axe buried out of it, but it was the way that he didn't take it out on anybody else, and he followed up with a nice funny quip as he walked back in through the door. And I thought that's quite endearing, really. I don't know.
Right.
I just like
with a bit of humour. That's a very British thing, isn't it? Yeah. Putting humour into awkward situations.
I think that's without humour, it's not a lot. You see too many grey people.
Well, you're from Northamptonshire?
Yeah, but they don't hold that against me.
Yeah, but is that a place that has a positive outlook, or is it?
No.
You wouldn't say that, right? Okay.
No, I think it's just with the people. I think it's just really lucky. Well, kind of lucky, but the people that I threw myself when I moved down to Brighton got involved with. You and all the promoters and everything. There was a certain with music. There's a certain fun and excitement. And I think that's where that stems from them.
And maybe, I guess, the time you grew up and where you grew up, maybe there wasn't a lot of that. So you wanted to get away from it. And did you feel like an outsider where you grew up?
Well, when I moved down here, certainly. When I
to Helsinki.
When I moved down to Brighton, there was but they're just immersed in that music, in the music industry with all those bands. The bands that cut them through, they had a lot of humour. A lot of fun, and that's the bands. A lot of the bands that have had their longevity, not the plain ones.
Yeah.
You know, the ones that, you know, why do you want fancy when you can always plain? I don't know. But the test tubes, all the fun bands.
What makes a band fun, in your opinion?
Well, just everything.
Is it performance or is it attitude or is it
the whole ingredients?
Yeah. Well, we were entertaining.
Yeah,
I believe
exactly.
our band was,
that's what
that's
made
why
us.
we got booked.
Yes,
and no one knows who we are, but we always got paid. Yeah.
And that's it really, and that's just the way that connects you. Sort of, you're in that environment for that length of time. It rubs off, and all the people that seem to be in this industry always have that kind of positive, attitude. Really, well, the ones that don't, you avoid. You don't even bother.
What I'd love to do though is distill like where it comes from and how people can adopt that, because because sometimes it feels like, well, this person's positive, that person's not, and those people who might be trying to find a better outlook. Do you remember Andy that worked in the bar? Remember,
yes,
he was going to have Ariel.
Yes, yes, I do. Yeah.
Now I think he suffered a bit of depression. And I remember him saying to me once, "Darren, how do you stay so positive?" He said that to me, and I couldn't figure it out. I was like, it's because I had a shit childhood, and everything's better than that. So I'm always looking for something, and exciting is the word. So I was finding something that's exciting, and I wouldn't do anything that wasn't.
But yeah, I mean, I think he's in the wrong job. Some jobs are, he now is a carpenter and he's happy.
Yeah, right.
Find the right job. Don't do. You don't eat things that you don't like. So don't do a job you don't like.
You don't even drink water, do you?
I mean, you see these people that got on the train up to London, and they're all grey and really cheap and nasty suits, and they've been on this train for like decade. Well, so 2 hours in the day, 2 hours at night. And they look like death. But they're making some money, so they're doing it. And then, you know what? They'll strive till they get to about 65, retire, their eyes won't work, their kneckers won't work, and then they'll keel over with a heart attack with a load of money left in the bank. Well, that's, to me...
That'll be taxed anyway.
Yeah, well, what's the point? Yeah. So find something you like doing. It may not be massively profitable.
But here's the thing, and with bands, and it's difficult to make money.
Yeah,
and you need money to keep you secure while you do that. So for a lot of people, and we've been semi-professional musicians, right?
Hopeless, money-wise, financially, yes.
But we weren't very business savvy.
No, we weren't.
Let's be honest about that. We weren't. I mean, we printed off a couple of second-hand T-shirts once and ended up giving them away.
Yes, we were that was it.
That was our merch.
But it wasn't our main job. It wasn't.
No.
That's the thing.
But that's the thing with the arts, right? You nearly always need to have some sort of... But for some people, though, it becomes their full thing.
Well, if you're lucky enough.
Well, I'd love to be a songwriter. I'd love, but it's right, because I'm become a filmmaker now, because I don't have to worry about my looks. I think with music, somehow that ties into what you look like as part of it. And it's also with an actor, it's all about how you look. But when you're the other side of the camera, it doesn't really matter. So I'm still being creative and writing, but no one's paying me for it yet. And that's difficult because, in a sense, I spent all those years being a musician, and I started playing my solo music. COVID sort of made me think otherwise, and I'm getting a bit older. I've got a family. It's difficult to go on tour, so I don't see a way of making money from it.
No, it's very difficult.
Yeah,
especially as the record companies and everybody else wants that piece of money out of you. That piece of the pie.
Yeah,
gets smaller. Your slice gets smaller and smaller and smaller.
So that's what I'm speaking to when I'm asking these questions. How to keep yourself. Because you have found what you wanted and you became good at it and you stayed there and it's given you a life. But for those people who want to be musicians or want to be promoters, for example, even, or whatever, or find that thing, what if they know what it is but they just don't know how to fucking fund it?
Well, there's a lot safer ways of doing it now with the internet. It's so much easier because you can get your music. You don't have an advance to have to have a big company to get your music to around the world. The problem is the evils of Spotify, where you get paid very little for your money, for your
unless
music.
you're an investor in the company.
I mean, you can go on tour now with people, because people will, and if you got enough hits, again, it's down to that. You can about a promoter go, oh, they're doing well, or we like the music, and they've got a good following in all, even in our area. That's fine. So that will work. So you can do it without getting to yourself massively into debt, but And you have
production,
to.
if you want it properly, it's not cheap. Time consuming.
I mean, you can do. There's enough on you tools now that you can produce your own records. You can do it yourself.
Yeah, it's a learning curve.
Yeah, or you can get someone who is a lot cheaper than a very expensive producer.
Well, here we come back to AI again.
Well, yes,
right? Because
exactly.
people can use AI for producing their own songs. And actually, I think because when people are using AI well, they're using it as someone to bounce ideas back and forth on getting critique or like corrections on this. So why couldn't that be possible as a production level as well? Like, I want to write this song, here's the guitar for it, I imagine having violins, I want to have this, and these are the chord progressions, and this is the thing. What can you make? That could be, and then make that a double bass. Like, you're only going to be doing that yourself.
Exactly. So use as much as you can.
Yeah.
And then if you can get out there, for example, the tour that I went on last week, our money was made up hugely by our merchandise. Because we were independent, and we sold and having a good, several different T-shirt designs.
And that's with the long tall Texans, right? You've just been you've just been employed by, if you like, or employed by. You've just joined. Can you say being employed by a band?
No, I didn't know.
Or is that just really uncool?
Well, don't know about that.
You can't say that.
They put up with me anyway. But the fact is, we subsidised. I mean, because the fuel we did 5 dates in Germany. Just the fuel was an enormous expense, but selling a lot of merchandise helped that considerably.
Just to be able to do it. Now, Carew, he was one of the original founders of the band.
Yes, Mark was, yeah.
He's kept it going for a long time, hasn't he?
Yeah, 40 odd years.
40 years. Yeah. They've been going for that long.
But again, he has a job, and a second job. Yeah,
that for me, that's actually a bit sad to hear.
But he's played in Russia, he's played America, he's played all over the world.
Yeah.
There is a time where you've got to get very big before you can get. I mean, but to do big tours, there's so much money involved now.
Yes, because you've got to book everything and book everyone, or if someone else is paying for it, everyone gets paid, and the artist gets paid last. Yeah. I found that with filmmaking as well, because I'm the first person there at the writing stage, go through to development and then preparing, getting everyone together and building the whole thing, paying for the whole thing, and then the post-production, all that, and then sending it, finding people. And then when you send it out to distributor, they send it out to the channels. The channels take their money first. Yeah. Distributor gets paid second. My sales agent gets paid third. Then it comes back to me. I've got to pay the expenses and everyone else that should have been paid in the first place, and I get paid last. Yeah. So the first to go, last to show, something like that. But so is arts then still a worthy pursuit?
Yes. I mean, I don't know whether
if that's where your heart is.
If that's where your heart is, I would say there's ways of.
Accounting, I really.
I think. Say if you've got to sort of know your limitations, it's to break it into massively. You've got to be very, very lucky and have all the ingredients to be able to do it. On
youth, looks, free time.
Well,
bit of cash saved up,
bit of everything really, and you've got to basically commit to sort of nothing else.
Yes,
which is very difficult.
That is very difficult, and it's very difficult for me.
You need a roof over your head.
Yeah. Now, see, my main business is Vocabilities, and but I've got Polymath House Productions. I had Happy Boy Records, but only so I could release my songs under a record label, if you like. It's not really active in that respect.
Yeah.
But if I write songs, and I can put it through the business, and then some of the expenses can be sort of covered as long as I'm using those songs, right? And I do put them in my videos as well, my content. But having other revenue streams, it's such a shame, isn't it, that you've got to support yourself.
You need to be in an advert. All of the music, all of the big bands strive to be in a movie or a TV advert. Yeah, because you've got recurring
royalties and stuff.
That's where the cash is.
Yeah.
Get one of those. You do.
Yeah, how do you get one of those?
Exactly.
You got to have an agent, you got to have a manager, you got to have a record label before anyone even thinks about you. You got to have certain hundreds of millions of followers.
Invest in someone that
or have been around for 40 years.
Yeah, who's got connections. But that's it. But it all boils down to you've got to have some money to be able to do something.
I think you've got to be in it to win it. But that thing of doing one thing, I struggle with.
Yeah.
Mainly because there's a group of things, and I do consider myself a polymath, which is why my main company name is Polymath House. Because I'm nearly 50, right? So I've had time to do a few things, but I haven't done like you one thing for 25 years.
Yeah.
And clearly it's been your bread and butter as well as your passion and all that. But for artists who, for example, I want to be an actor, that can't just be your one thing, because you've got to pay the bills. Automatically, you've got two things. So you're going to do the job you fucking hate, like chefing or bartending, only because that's a disposable job.
Yeah.
So then you can go back to it when you need it.
That's right.
Yeah. But then you don't always you don't have the safety of always going back to that same job if you don't get that opportunity. So that's really hard. So the artists tend to want to find other creative ways. Like people will become teachers. I started teaching like actor's voice and like public speaking, if you like, through YouTube, and that provided me with an income for making courses. So it's teaching, and since that's my main income, I've got to give it a certain amount of times, and that takes away from everything else. But because I'm creating content, I'm learning filmmaking. Yeah. And I developed the writing from my master's degree in acting and understanding a bit about plays and writing scripts, and then turning it into that. So, and I still write music. I'm not playing out live, but I do that for joy now. I do that just for myself. But it's hard for me to consider doing one thing, because for me as an artist, right, and it might sound a bit poncy, but I have to be making something.
You're got to moving the goalposts. You're doing something, keeping it fresh, keeping it interesting.
Yeah, but I guess I could call myself a multidisciplinary artist, right? Because I do different things to I guess, to create a creative. That's it. Robert Rodriguez, I heard him on a podcast talking about, because he's done every job under the sun within filmmaking as well. He edits it, films it, writes it, and the special effects.
Sings the theme tune.
Yeah. And he goes, well, he's fed up with telling people that he's one thing or another. Yeah. Because he doesn't like being put in a box. So he says, I'm a creative. Full stop. And I guess that, if it's comfortable with me, just doesn't look good on LinkedIn. Creative. And if you say artist, everyone thinks you're a painter. Or I paint as well, but that's again something that I had since I was a child. So.
Troubled, tortured. Which artist do you want to
prefer? Troubled artist. Hey, that's a good
tortured artist.
Tortured, troubled artist. Give me money. We'll sing for money. We'll sing. We'll talk for food. Yeah.
But it's a tricky one. It's just I suppose you've just got to have that balance.
Yeah.
And hope that you strike gold with one of your achievements, haven't you, really?
One thing that reminded me to get you in here today while you're visiting is that I found out that you are the youngest in your family. Yeah. Is that right? Yeah. Youngest sibling. Yeah. And the next one, eldest one, is 6 years older.
Yeah.
Every single guest I've had on, you're the fourth so far, is in the same position. They're not only the youngest, it's just remarkable how it's happened, but they're also youngest by 6 years or more. Wow.
Okay.
So, being as
all the black sheep as well.
Yes, I believe they are in a sense. I think they are. Yeah. I wonder if I'm picking you people, and somehow there's something that comes from being the youngest, and perhaps and everyone's got more than two siblings as well. So you've got two siblings. You've got a sister and a brother.
That's all right.
So some of them have got more. Yeah. But I think it's three and up. So it's fascinating that it's just like the people I've picked.
Coincidence.
And the one of the main things has been positivity. Everyone that I've brought on, well, not everyone actually, but there's a sense of having felt like they were kind of a ray of light to their parents in the household, because maybe the brothers and sisters are a bit older, so they can sort of help look after, and they're not fighting against.
Yeah, I mean, maybe just on the disappointment-ometer to mine. They're successful.
But I'm just thinking about this positive side that I come to, and I'd if I can distill it. I mean, like how your early years, were they fun? Did you enjoy them? Like what?
Yeah, I guess so. It's just a bit different. I mean, my brother and sister were sort of closer in age-wise, so they were always off
to each other. Yeah.
So I suppose that's a bit of a difference. So that
I don't want to keep dragging back to that point. I guess it's going to get boring. So yeah, I don't want to. What was it? Flog a dead horse. Keep going over the same point.
Milking a dead horse.
Welcome to another episode
of Milking a Dead Horse.
We should make those music videos, shouldn't we? Let's go back to that. Yeah, I think this will probably be a short one today, just because you were here. You came to visit. We actually watched Leonard Grag Cowboys, didn't we?
We did. Yeah.
That was quite fun. I remember you showing me videos of them years ago, like the Jim Jarmusch one, with the documentary.
Great film.
Yeah. I'd like to watch it again, actually. And I never would have thought they were finished. But it's a good reason for you to come visit, and it's nice to see you. You are a positive person, Will. You've had quite an interesting life, even if it has just been doing one thing. But moving the goalpost seems like
one-dimensional.
Yeah, but I'm really that idea though of just keeping one thing. It kind of
keep it fresh,
because if I pick the wrong thing, I might never make any money, and I've got a family to feed and rent to pay. So it's like.
But you're doing different things. You're doing different things. It's under one umbrella, I guess, but it's a different film. It's a different with different people. It's a different.
True, yeah.
It's not the same subject. It's not the so you essentially you're doing the same thing.
Yeah, and I guess like in a sense you've sort of figured out who you want to work with and who you don't want to work with, and
your
why,
actors,
what type of bands, who's coming through. I'm picking the themes. I'm picking the sort of actors.
It's your choice.
People,
so that's it. Every time it's fresh. With the people that you've got the dependables, people that you like working with.
Yeah.
And then you just bring in the extra. Yeah.
Hired hands. When I get money, I'll hire them anyway. Until for now, it'll have to be on the profit share thing. Well, thanks, Will. Thanks for speaking with me. It's just, I guess, the shortest episode I've done so far, but we want to go and get more veggie beer in us. You want to have some of that lovely whatever you're drinking, Loncaro. Thanks. Nice to see you. Thanks for being on the show.
Well, thank you very much.
Photo. Right. See you next time. Thank you for listening today. As a new podcast, we truly value your feedback. It helps us grow, improve, and connect with the guests that you want to hear from. If you've enjoyed this conversation, please subscribe to the channel and share it with a friend or anyone who might benefit from these discussions. Your support makes a real difference, not only in helping us cover the costs of production, but in allowing this show to reach more people around the world. And if you'd like to go a step further, you can visit our donation page to contribute directly as we continue to expand the channel. Thank you for being part of this journey and for helping keep the flame alive.